Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in once again. In this week's episode, we're going to be looking at the topic, knowing when to slow down. Also in this week's episode, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications forward. And then later on in the show, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So without further ado, let's dive deep. As I say, we're talking about knowing when to slow down. First of all, let's address this situation. Most of you that are listening to this or inquiring, watching this and listening to this show, I would say you will be a light worker of some description. Now, what this means is that as a light worker, you give unconditionally and you help others. You're here to serve, to help, guide, inspire, and heal. And with this being the case, it is kind of built into our DNA, I would say, where we naturally put ourselves last in line as we think of others before ourselves. And that is a beautiful thing in itself. I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one, that there are so many people that do this, help, guide, heal, and inspire. It certainly does make the world go round, that is for sure. However, this is the big rub. Those of you that operate like that and do all of those things will know that you can only give so much until you feel drained, depleted, exhausted, and you'll take yourself to the wire with this one because it's built in your DNA. You're a light worker, you're a healer, you're a helper. You'll keep on going and going and going and going until eventually the physical body, the emotional, the mental body there will just say, hold on a minute, that's enough. You need to slow down. You're doing too much. And I'm sure many of you listening can really align with those words. You won't like to hear those words, but you'll align with them nevertheless. So let's take this a little bit further. Ideally, to stop you getting to that situation of exhaustion, even though it is inbuilt in your DNA that you are, a light worker, you're here to help, heal, guide, and inspire, you have to be paying attention. You have to be observing your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. Now, on top of doing everything else, helping, serving, healing, inspiring, and guiding, this is just one of those extra things that is on your to-do list of your day-to-day routines. And I'm sure you won't want to hear this because already you're stretched to the maximum, I'm sure. But all it takes is a few moments of your time in each and every day. I would suggest that most of us naturally do this without even realizing it before our day begins. And what I'm suggesting, when you're waking up, your alarm clock goes off and you turn the alarm clock off and you think, right, I'll have 5 minutes before I get out of bed. Most of you in that 5 minutes, you're assessing, oh, I feel this today. Oh, I'm a bit achy here. Oh, still tired. And you'll be assessing all of these experiences. Now, my suggestion is during this 5 minutes, you observe how you are mentally. What are your dominant thoughts in that moment? You observe yourself emotionally. How are you feeling? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling a little bit depleted, a little bit sad? And what is your physical body doing? Do you feel the aches and pains? Have you slept funny? Have you slept on your arm and your arm feels a little bit maybe numb or something like that? Or maybe like I say, you're observing that you could do with another half an hour in bed, just to give you that opportunity to wake up in a better mood, maybe, I don't know. But what I'm suggesting, in this 5 minutes, you have a wonderful opportunity in doing all of these checks before you even leave your bed. And in doing this is where you can make, I would say, a mental note of all of those things without assigning attachment to any one of them, just being the observer, not investing any energy in any one of those things, just noticing. And then what you can do with that information, obviously you can start to observe if you are feeling a little bit low, if you're feeling overstretched, you're doing too much, because you'll recognize the signs, you'll see it, you'll experience it, you'll sense it. Again, I don't want you to attach yourself to those energies, just observe and make that mental note with them. And then by doing this will allow you to maybe make some minor tweaks in your life before that day even starts, so that you can start to feel better and you can start to take your power back. Now, I know this sounds all very easy, me talking about this, and it does take a great amount of discipline, of strength, particularly, like I say, if this is in your DNA, you're a light worker, it's there, it's already programmed within you. But as you know, we can only do so much in each and every moment, in each and every day. So it's worth observing all of these things before you even leave the bed. And if some of you are thinking, well, I still haven't got time, I'm not fully awake and aware at that time, well, I would suggest then, if that is the case, at some point in your day, most of you will go to the lavatory at least twice. Each in one of those sessions, you have 5 minutes. Why not multitask and do the checks there? You always have that option then. But most of us have responsibilities, whether that's friends, family, work, career, whether that is appointments, whether that is your, like I say, friendship circles, social media, that is very important nowadays. People feel very responsible for their content, what they share, who they interact with, and that can play quite heavy in this society now, because there is a trend that you do have to keep current, and you do have to keep the content fresh and uploading, and, you're aware of the audience, and the audience needs to feel, engaged, part of it, entertained, maybe inspired with all of that. So that nowadays is part of your responsibility, I would say, in this modern age. So with you being aware of all of those things, and then you've got the life, what do they call it now? Life admin. And, it's the standard stuff, isn't it? Your health, your family's health, the education, paying the bills of the house and your car insurance and all of this, petrol, fuel. Make sure you've got some food in the house. Have you done the washing? Have you done the ironing? Are the pets all right? And all of these things, life admin, pretty standard stuff. However, it can feel a little overwhelming, particularly when it's stacked up with all the other elements of your life. So what I want to suggest to you, again, I'm doing a lot of suggesting today, aren't I? And this is, rather than allowing your mind to run away with itself and feel insecure, overwhelmed, overstimulated, I'm suggesting that instead of thinking into a situation, you feel into a situation. So the next minute one of those responsibilities pop up in your mind and all of a sudden you start to feel anxious, I'd like you to drop down into your feelings, into your heart chakra, also into your solar plexus, your gut instinct, and feel into the situation rather than thinking into the situation. It's a completely different way of analyzing and working with your life. And by feeling into the situation, you'll get a sensation of either expansion, of excitement, of playfulness. And obviously those emotions, those light emotions, those expansive emotions are telling you that this would be a great thing to do. This would be a good choice for you to make. This is ahead of you even thinking those thoughts. Okay. Now, if it does the complete opposite to that, so it makes you feel anxious, angry, frustrated, you're noticing that your muscles in your physical body are tightening up. You're observing that your breathing is getting very quick, very shallow. You may be feeling a little bit lightheaded because you're not getting enough oxygen to the brain, because you're not breathing correctly. And all of these things are being triggered by the energy, the frequency in that responsibility, in that situation that you're giving your focus on in that time. And you're just assessing that, I would call it bio-spiritual feedback, shall we call it, with your emotions. And so in that case, if you are experiencing all of those things, your emotions are suggesting to you that it wouldn't be a great idea to pursue that responsibility, to do that project, to connect with that person. And this is without you even thinking about it. It's just you observing those emotions, those feelings, and utilizing that beautiful gift, that feedback that you're getting in order for you to make a decision that sees you connecting to the truth of each one of those responsibilities or situations. So by doing this, it will take out the sting in the tail, so to speak. It will stop you feeling mentally drained, overstimulated mentally. And instead, this is another way of, shall we call it, administrating your life without that stress. So that's something I'd like you to think about the next time that you do feel overwhelmed with the responsibilities. And this way, feeling into a situation and responsibilities, you will be able to feel into the truth vibration and have a sense of priority with what you need to be focusing on first. What deserves your time and attention, your energy, your headspace first. And then that way, rather than juggling all the plates at the same time, that a lot of us do, myself included, you can then chip away at things, and then you'll start to see progression occurring in your life. It may not be to the speed that you're used to. However, by chipping away at things in your life, you will notice that you'll be able to achieve more efficiently. You'll get a better quality of work, a better quality of choices there, and you won't feel as drained as what you did prior to doing these techniques. We've all been here, being in a state of overwhelmment, overstimulated, too much going on. I said before, I used the term of juggling too many plates. And we're all guilty of that at some point. And let's face it, modern day life is very geared to push forward, keep on pushing forward, move quickly, or you'll miss out. And let's just scroll back and focus in on that way of modern life. This rushing around is all based around missing out. What is missing out? Missing out is based around the vibration of fear, worrying that you're not going to get your just deserves, worrying that you're going to miss out on an opportunity or meeting a friend or whatever, that time's running out. It's all based around that, isn't it? So why don't we just turn that around and zone in on the fact that what is meant for us will not pass us by? And having that sort of state of mind, it instills a level of confidence within you. It connects you to more positive vibrations rather than the vibration of fear and worry and a sense of lack. It puts you into a state of abundance, a state of gratitude, and a state of trust, and you'll start to have faith. And by living in that vibration, you will start to witness in your waking consciousness proof of that happening. It may not be a giant gesture of proof to begin with, but when you're paying attention and observing in every facet of your life, you'll start to see and witness little signs coming in from your higher self, your spirit guide, your helpers, the universe, to let you know that you're on track, you're on purpose, and you're in alignment with your highest timeline. Now, this could come in many forms, as I've mentioned many times before on previous episodes, angel numbers being one of them, hearing repetitive songs in your head, an earworm maybe, the lyrics in that song, the content within that song is a message, maybe seeing an animal outside your kitchen window when you're preparing your breakfast in the morning. That potentially is a sign to let you know that you're on purpose, you're on track with your timeline. So pay attention. The signs are all around us. And it's not very nice, is it? Let's face it, when we're in that vibration of being overwhelmed, overstimulated, it can be very draining mentally. We become very forgetful. You know, the most simplest of tasks, and I'm sure you've all done this, where you're walking in the kitchen and you're there staring at the walls thinking, why have I just walked in the kitchen? What have I come in here for? So you backtrack in your mind, right? What was I doing before this? Okay, what was I thinking before this? And then you get to the point, that's why I came in the kitchen, to put some washing on. Or something like that. We've all been in that situation, and that's because we're managing all these facets within ourselves, and we're not setting boundaries. We're not prioritizing. We're not feeling into situations. We're just allowing this sense of overwhelmness, if that's such a word, and chaos to litter our mind and our vibration and our consciousness. So rather than sweating the small stuff and stressing yourself, thinking, I haven't got time, I've got this to do, I've got that to do. Again, this is where it would be worth every single second of your time to just sit back for maybe 5 minutes, reassess where you are at in your life, maybe get a pen and paper and write down everything that's happening in your life. You could start by family life, couldn't you? Do a column on family, right, my responsibilities with family, school runs, feeding, clothing, love, time, attention, free time, and all of these things. And you could move into a column of work life. Work life, we have to be there on time. We have jobs that we have to fulfill and tick off. We have a deadline for these specific jobs. And then we have a review, maybe a monthly review of our work progress there as well, or the project that we're working on. And then you could move into the section of your life admin, so your home, the bills, the responsibilities, making calls to amend maybe some overpayments that you've been paying, or underpayments for that matter. And then you could have, time for you, time for play, fun and adventure, and write all those things down. And when you separate them in that way and you look at the list, again, what I'd encourage you when you're reading what's on your list, each one of those pieces of information in each one of those sections, feel into it and observe your emotions and feelings. That will be an indication to help you then set some healthy boundaries and prioritize elements in your life. Because sometimes, let's face it, a lot of us, we do things out of habit that we don't necessarily need to be doing on a daily basis. And these things out of habit are maybe things that we've put in place within our life as a distraction, because we don't particularly want to give time and attention to something else on our list. So we do this habit to avoid doing it. So what is that saying? Well, first of all, it's saying that maybe that thing that you're avoiding, you need to address that. You need to feel into that and see if that is actually a priority. It also is saying, feel into that distraction. Why are you doing this in the first place? You're doing it to give yourself time so that you can chill out and maybe, stop overthinking in your mind and feel into that situation. And then you'll get to the bottom and you'll be able to, again, assess, reprioritize and refocus. And let's face it, when we do this and we come to this realization and we accept it, and I think that is the key to this, accepting there's a need for change, a need for a new way of living our lives. And when we accept that, we get that eureka moment and we're like, oh, why didn't I notice this earlier? Why didn't I change this up earlier? I would have saved myself all of that stress, all of that anxiety, all of that frustration if I'd only have made this choice earlier. And I would say quite possibly true, but you've learnt via the gift of contrast and you've come to your own conclusions rather than somebody else telling you. You see, life is to be experienced. I know I'm sharing you some of my experience and observations with you, but, predominantly, should I say, you're here to experience life. And more often than not, it's through the gift of contrast. And so potentially nothing happens out of accident. It is happening on purpose so that you can come to your own conclusions, make new priorities, make changes within your life. But only you can do that. Nobody's going to make those decisions for you. Some of you may say, well, yes, they're telling me to do this and I don't want to do that. But you have the choice whether to follow or go your own way. I know there will be consequences, either one of those things, but the point being is you do have a choice. There's always a choice. Okay. So again, continuing this talk that we're doing today, I want to encourage you, again, I've said this before, to put yourself on pause and reassess your life. Prioritize what resonates with you and lighten your load. Why put yourself under all of that pressure, all of that stress, when, let's face it, there's an easier option that's going to be in more vibrational alignment and harmony with you, with your life purpose, than what you've been doing up until this point. Now, if you're not finding this time to pause and reflect and reassess in your life, again, I'm reflecting on personal experience with this, then the universe, your higher self, your spirit team, have a way of stopping you in your tracks. One of these ways that's happened to me recently, actually, I would say in May of this year, is when I had to go into hospital. And basically, I went into casualty. And I don't mind going into details and sharing this with you. Basically, I had what I would describe, it looked like a pimple on my stomach. Nothing major, just a small pimple. And I thought, oh, okay, that'll go in a day or so. And kept calm and carried on. Anyway, I was working down in Glastonbury. And upon returning back, I didn't feel too right. I felt drained, felt tired. And I wondered whether it was due to the lack of sleep that I had, because I was working really late into the early hours. And upon coming home, my daughters were there and they said, Dad, are you all right? You don't look very well. You look all pale, you look grey, and you just don't look right. And then they looked at the clothes I was wearing and noticed that I had this blood and green fluid emanating through my T-shirt, which I didn't know that was there myself. I didn't realise. And so I looked down, I lifted my T-shirt up, and there was this lump on my stomach, and it was the size, I would say, of a boiled egg that was literally hanging off my stomach. And it was red, inflamed, it was green, and this green colour was moving around my stomach area as well. You could see it spreading. And my daughter said, come on, Dad, we need to get you into hospital. We need to get you checked out. So they drove me over to casualty, or the emergency room, as they now call it. And then I got looked at, and they said, right, this is an abscess, and it's very aggressive. It's very inflamed. Obviously, it is infected, and you will need a surgery to have this removed, because it can't be lanced. It has gone that deep, looking at it. So anyway, I got admitted into hospital, and I heard those words. Nobody wants to hear, yes, we're going to do this to you. I'm going to do an operation. This is how it's going to work. And you're like, oh no. But there was a sense of, okay, I'm just going to go with the flow. I can't do anything about this in this situation. So I did. I had the operation. And after the operation, there was a period of enforced rest where I couldn't do the work. I was instructed I couldn't do the gym work. I couldn't do this work. I had to have time off my job as well, which, I'm a full-time spiritual medium. And so I had to basically down tools. And my point being that this was an enforced break, an enforced rest that I didn't see coming. And I know that sounds crazy coming from somebody that is a spiritual medium. But as I said before, what we get is, as spirit mediums, we don't get told every piece of our life, every part of our life. Because if we were to know everything, we'd say, pick and choose and say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. No, that's not for me. And by doing that, we would miss the opportunity in those lessons that life has to offer. So our guides don't particularly tell us everything. They're there to help us, support us through situations, but they won't tell us, some of these key events in our life. We have to experience them and make our own decisions on this. But on this occasion, I would say the universe stepped in and brought in an enforced break for myself. And this was quite something different for me, because those of you that know me will know that I'm always busy. I have so many projects on the go at the same time. I'm a single dad, bring up both of my daughters on myself. I'm a musician, I'm a producer, I'm an author. I have so many things on the go. And then there's the clients, and I'm a teacher as well, paranormal investigator. You know the score with me. And so I'm very busy. And life is very eventful in a good way for me. So having to say, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't be there for that. And, that pressure of meeting deadlines with books and everything. And I had to just say, on this occasion, I can't. I've just got to rest. I've just got to be here now with who I am and just allow my body, my mind, my spirit, my emotions to recover from this. And so that's what I did. I took, I think it was 2 weeks off. I took. And for me, this was, I was getting very agitated because I'm always busy, as you know. But in that time, I used it constructively by doing the inner work, by going within, by assessing these facets within my life, by observing the way that I behave and interact in the world. Being a light worker, and how much time and energy I was giving to that and not thinking of myself. And potentially all of this was building up to meet this crescendo where life was, I would say, put on pause for me, where I had to observe these contrasting situations and start to reassess and make priorities in my life. So with those 2 weeks off, that's what I did. Unknowing to everybody else, I probably looked like I was just lounging around, moaning, and being frustrated. But no, internally I was doing the work, as we say, and I was assessing these things. And it led me down various avenues, various eureka moments that in turn helped me work smarter, so that I wasn't burning myself out, yet I was still being of service and listening and being guided by spirit. And in fact, Spirit did come in and they spoke to me about this, and they gave me some inspiration, some suggestions, the way to work smarter, which I have since implemented them into my weekly routine. And that has served me greatly. And it came out of the blue. I won't say what the suggestions were, but let's just say it's made work life more, I would say, fruitful. And I'm of service more, but I'm not expelling vast amounts of energy and time in doing it. So it's made life a lot better. So it enabled me to reassess where I was at in my life and how grateful I was to be here and the things that I do. And it made me look at going to the gym and exercise differently, because I couldn't obviously do that for about a month. As said by the doctors there, they advised me not to. So when I did go back to the gym, it was like, I love it here. I love being at the gym. I can't wait to go on the treadmill. I can't wait to lift those weights and do this and that and the other. Whereas most of you know, when you do keep fit every week, it is part of your lifestyle. It's who you are. It's what you do. Yet you kind of accept it and you don't sort of appreciate it to the level that perhaps you could do. And in fact, this allowed me to see going to the gym differently, where I really look forward to it now. And it's such a privilege, such an honor to be able to look after and service my physical body. And in turn, it helps you spiritually, mentally, spiritually as well. So I began to see things a lot differently by doing that. And like I say, part of what I went through enabled me to go into this phase of pause for thought and reflection. I went into relaxation mode, which is something that I don't always do, because even though I'm maybe relaxing, I'm either coming up with ideas, or I'm setting deadlines on my phone, or creating things on my phone ready for the next events and things like that. So to do nothing was quite unusual for me. But I did find that nature is nurture. So what I was doing, although I couldn't go to the gym, I was making a point of going on a walk on a daily basis, just a gentle stroll, slowing my breathing down and just being here now and just allowing myself to observe my thoughts, my emotions, my physicality as well, because there was a few aches and pains, and I would call it stiffness. And this is with me tensing through that situation that I'd been through. Physically, I'm talking about, and I was carrying this, when you brace yourself because you feel as though something's going to hurt. I was sort of in that mode of bracing myself. Even though I had the operation, I came out of it. There was that stiffness with the adrenaline, and it caused an issue with my spine as well there. So I had to ease myself into this exercise. But anyway, my point being with this is that I also observed the way that I was breathing, the breath work. And in doing this, I was noticing that I was breathing very quickly, very sharp. And so I addressed that. I slowed my breathing down, conscious breath work. And in doing so, it slowed my mind down, which in turn allowed me to de-stress, to relax, not worry about things, which in turn took that adrenaline out of the physical body, so to speak, that tense feeling that I was describing to you. It relaxed my muscles. It allowed me to reset in that way so that I'm not sort of firing on adrenaline and worrying and rushing. And that was a massive game changer for me, because I didn't realize I was carrying that much sort of tense and adrenaline sensations around with me. But also I listened to a lot of music, and I find music a beautiful healer. And in this situation, it certainly did. It put me into that relaxation mode. It brought memories back from when I first discovered that piece of music and what I was doing at that particular time in my life. So again, it was very healing going through this process. And finally, just to remind you that going through this process, you're not wasting your time. You're not being lazy. You're not being idle. Despite other people's opinions, you have been gifted this time for a reason. to readjust, to reassess, and to set some healthy boundaries. And with doing that, you'll discover a new and easy way will begin to open up for you in your life. So don't resist these changes, these opportunities of working smarter, a lot easier, so that you can serve and help more people, but also look after yourself, because you are a priority after all. Because if you're not okay and you're not firing on all cylinders, it will have a dramatic impact on every single area of your life. So start and make you a priority. It is not selfish. Those of you that are listening to this are light workers. You put everybody else first, but you can no longer do that if you're not looking after yourself. So if anything, this conversation is a lesson for you and a reminder to you to serve yourself, to look after your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual and your physical health. And once you have all of those elements in balance, then when you give, when you serve, when you help others, it will be second nature. It will not drain you of your vibration and your energy. In fact, it will empower you. It will inspire you. And it will help you live a life of balance. We're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's Channeling from Spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for Spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications forward. Slightly ahead of doing that, though, I'd like to check in with you all, see how you are all doing, if you've had a fabulous week, and if you've noticed any shifts and change in your vibration. I know that I certainly have, and I've had to do some inner work, some self-reflection, as many of us have to do on a weekly basis. But particularly over the past few weeks, moving into this week, it has ramped up to the point where things have changed in my life. And I've been busy with inspiring information from my spirit team and, doing lots more meditation than perhaps what I normally would. And I'm finding just relaxing and just surrendering into meditation, it can open so many doors up for levels of inspiration, for one, personal healing, energetic, emotional healing. And I'm finding myself feeling supercharged, relaxed, full of energy, having gone into a deeper form of meditation. So I'm finding that very helpful at this moment in time. I'm also finding that a lot of the projects that I've been working on behind the scenes are starting to come to fruition. They're starting to come to an end. And this is the exciting part, where these projects then can then be birthed out into the universe, out into the world. So I'm at that stage with various projects at the moment, and it's a very nervous but exciting time nevertheless. So I hope you've had a wonderful week so far. I just thought I'd touch base with you all and see how you've been keeping, and also not to worry if you've been finding that your energies, you've been overthinking or analysing or doing the internal work, because I feel that's what is designed for most of us at this moment in time, particularly those of us that are of a sensitive nature. So as I say, we're going to move into the channeling in the next section, so sit back, relax and enjoy.
Hello, my name is Edward Johns, and I have come forward to speak to you all today about self-responsibility. A lot of you spend time worrying about other people and giving your time, energy and attention to others to make them feel better about themselves and more comfortable in their alignment. Yet most of you forget about your very own alignment, and this is not a selfish act. This is a much needed act, where you need, in order for you to flourish and grow, need to fill your cup up with energy and prosperity. A lot of you forget about that, and we've come here today to remind you of that very thing, that you need to look after yourself and consider your approach differently in your life. Again, we're not promoting being selfish. You can carry on helping others and being of service, but you must not do that in order to forget about oneself. You have a responsibility for yourself to keep yourself thriving and flourishing so that you can help others on your path. The way that we want you to change this mindset around this particular topic is know that you are worthy. You are deserving, You are God, you are Creator, you are source energy experiencing itself so that it can report back with information and experiences to help expand the consciousness and awareness, which in actual fact will help every single person, entity, animal, vibration in and around the universe. So we implore you to start to think differently. And the moment you do, we wish you not to worry or go into moments of depression or despair. We want you to feel that level of excitement and wonder as you move into an expansive timeline where opportunity magnetizes and finds its way to you, helping you to flourish and grow and live a prosperous life, the life that you were truly here to experience, so that you could again feel the blessings and the magic in your significant power. As we say, you are Creator, you are source energy. So why would source energy deny itself the opportunity to have the opportunity in creating this experience so that you could report back with your findings? We want you to know that signs are always made readily available to you to give you that confirmation and let you know you are on the right path, and also to give you that confidence in who you are as an individual to step forward a little further than you did previously. We want you all to know that in this timeline, this new timeline that is changing, a lot of you will find yourself going through periods of mental, emotional turmoil because you are wrestling against the flow of your life and your life's calling. Many of you think in your mind that you have your own divinely inspired plan that you would like to orchestrate in your life, and we applaud you for that. But we want to let you know that most of you have been stuck rigid in that thought pattern now for some time, and the energies around you have moved on, have changed vibrationally to such a magnitude that the intelligence of the universe sees an easier, quicker, more prosperous route for you than the one that you kept in your mind clinging to by tooth and nail. This will be, as we say, emotionally distressing, mentally distressing for those of you that do walk this path. And we want you to know that it is safe for you to trust and to try something a little bit out of your comfort zone, and know that this will be the greatest stepping stone and the easiest flow to your abundance than what you can ever anticipate. And in doing so, this will give you the resources, both energetically, emotionally, financially, and physically, to help and inspire and guide as many people as possible. You'll start to feel more fulfilled as an individual. You'll also be able to have experiences in your life that previously you weren't able to have. And we say that with the ultimate respect, because these experiences have always been right under your nose. It's the fact that you've been stuck rigid in your thoughts, in your purpose, that you haven't been able to spot them. But because you've moved into another timeline, these opportunities will be made readily available to you. So you have not got to worry about how the hows, the wheres, the whens, the whats, the whys. Even though at times it will be right to the midnight hour where you're having to place all of your efforts and emotions on that vibrational level of trust and faith. We want to let you know that once you take that leap, we are there by your side to encourage and promote you and encourage you to live the life of beauty and splendor, the life that you truly deserve and what you truly are entitled to. Our conversation today also branches out into spiritual fulfillment, and we mean by this, a lot of you listening to this transmission today will feel stunted in your spiritual growth to the point where You're almost feeling it's time to hang up the towel. And we say that this is not necessarily a bad thing, because it says to the universe and to us that you have now tried it your way. Try as you might, you've tried every perceived avenue, and now you're open to the infinity of the universe, guiding, inspiring, and making a lot easier job of your timeline, your spirituality, and your connection to it, by releasing and saying, how may I serve? I place it in your hands, or terminology of that magnitude. You will notice how your life will change very rapidly for the best of intentions. You will also begin to recognize that you'll become a magnet for others to follow in your footsteps. You'll be very, very popular indeed. But it is entirely up to you, because you have the gift of free will and choice, and only you can make that decision. We will never make it for you. However, we will support and encourage whatever you decide and help guide you on your highest timeline. But you must observe and listen and sense and feel and come to your own conclusions. We want you all to know at this time that it takes a brave and courageous soul to step out from beyond their perceived narrative, and also to step out from the collective consciousness and to continue to walk your own path with confidence, ease, and grace in new territories. We applaud all of you that are going through this, because times are changing, your planet is changing, and it will take brave, courageous souls like yourself to start and leave footprints wherever you shall choose to go. And this will shine your light, and you will leave healing vibrational codes wherever you dare think, visit, or go. This communication is being brought to you from beyond the universe, beyond the stars, and it's coming with the ultimate feeling of vibration of love and contentment and happiness. You may notice how relaxed we are in delivering this message to you, even though it's one of ultimate importance. And the reason for that is, one, you are receiving the high vibrational frequency codes that will be implemented into your vibration to help you transcend your restrictions and move into these abundant new timelines. We feel very honored and very privileged to come forward, and the other is the fact that we're delivering this message rather relaxed, because simply there is nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. It's down to you to let go and trust. You have our divided attention, our support, and our healing always. And most times we convey our messages to you through repetitive thoughts and feelings and emotions. It's not always straightforward, as you know. We usually communicate very subtly in order to get our message through into your dimension. We will also manipulate things in your environment to get your attention, such as music, such as people coming to speak with you or communicate with you. Also, animals play a vast role in us delivering a message to you. And ultimately, your emotions and you listening to those instincts, making a note of those instincts on a daily basis, because time is changing, energy is changing in each and every second. So what felt right to you yesterday will feel completely different the day after. So it is important now that you do not overanalyze these things, that you sink into the emotions in your heart chakra, as this will govern and lead the way. And it will give you the bravery, the courage you need to stand proud and to walk tall and to move forward into uncharted territories. It is with the utmost respect and pleasure that we have in coming forward and delivering this message to you. And we hope you take on board and embody the energy that's interwoven within the presentation of the voice that you are listening to. We wish you all the highest of timelines, and we want to let you know that when you are feeling perplexed, frustrated, angry, that you can always ask and reach out to us in the world of energy and spirit. You can do this in two ways: by sending a thought of help, I need your help and support. You can say that out loud, and also you can pray to energy to come and help and heal and deliver you onto your new timeline, because it can feel mentally and emotionally debilitating when you reach this crossroads in your timeline. We want you to know that you're not alone in experiencing this. There's millions that have gone before you that have had to go through this situation. Currently, there's billions going through the situation because your timelines are changing on the earth to such a degree that things are changing on a daily basis. And you have to be a little bit more flexible and adapt, as these energy expansions are for the greatest good of humanity and the collective. The old way of being is leaving your vibration, and this is where that feeling of frustration, anger, sorrow, bereavement is coming from, because you are letting go of those old narratives in order to move forward and flourish on higher timelines. We want you not to give your time and attention to the increases in your day-to-day living expenditure, because you're just adding to the fear vibration that has been designed to keep you downtrodden, to make you feel small and insignificant. Instead, we want you to focus on the excitement of a new timeline and a new opportunity. And it is when you focus in your intent and your sensations on those vibrations that you will get absolutely everything you need in order to thrive and flourish and grow on this new timeline. Even if at times you try to work the mathematics out in your mind in terms of your expenditure and you can't see how it's going to work, we assure you that once you trust and take that leap of faith, everything will fall into place, and you will always be cared for, loved, guided, and supported. And you will always have sufficient funds and experiences and energy that you need in order to flourish on these new timelines that we speak of. We hope this information finds you well, and we hope these frequencies interwoven in the voice are installed into your vibration, so it makes this experience for you one of ease and grace and excitement and contentment. We send you our deepest love, and again we wish to instill within you that we are always surrounding you, inspiring you, guiding you, giving you that emotional, mental, and physical support that you need to flourish and grow on your soul's path. We send you our love and blessings. God bless. Bye for now.
What a fantastic transmission there from the world of spirit. Really appreciated that, and I needed to hear that personally as well. So interesting to hear about self-responsibility, and that we need to take our power back and know that we are worthy and deserving of higher experiences, also higher security as well, and opportunities coming into our life, and just to sit in that vibration and trust. By changing our thoughts can change our life. So many of us sit in our thoughts and we allow them to take over and make us feel like we're going round in circles. So maybe pausing for self-reflection, analysing what we're thinking and making that conscious choice by saying, no, I'm not thinking that anymore. I don't want that. I want this instead, something better. And in turn, that will change your life once you get onto that high vibrational timeline. You're going to receive signs from the universe to let you know that you're on the right path, and signs can come in many shapes or forms, as we all know. Maybe repetitive numbers, songs in your head, songs on the radio, maybe TV shows, or overhearing people's conversations, and keywords leap out at you. So look out for that there as well. And also trust that the universe is going to bring in your highest timeline forward. And it does that when we release, we let go, and we said, okay, how may I serve? Or words to that effect. And we just trust in the information that comes forward. By doing that, the universe sees the bigger picture. It knows what is best for our timeline. And we simply allow ourselves to flow with ease and grace into it. So what a beautiful transmission. We're now going to move into the next section of the show, which is this week's forecast reading. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and hopefully this will inspire and guide you for this week ahead. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 21st of July 2025. Now, those of you that have watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. So here is your card for this week's forecast reading. I'm now going to connect in with the vibration of that and bring forward information for you. First of all, I'm being told to tell you this week you need to listen. Rather than talk and tell people information, you need to listen, observe, reflect, and then respond accordingly. Don't rush into things either. I've got to say, watch out for yourself being increasingly more sensitive this week, where you may get irritations around the skin and around the face, maybe feeling a little bit itchy there. Nothing major to worry about, but I do feel as though you're becoming increasingly sensitive as we're moving further into July. I'm hearing manifestations. Watch out for them coming in. So whatever your heart's been desiring for or anchoring for, I feel as though this week you're going to see the start of that process of those manifestations coming into your life, albeit very subtly, very incrementally. You're going to be witnessing them and you're going to be happy that they're coming in. I've also got to say that you need to get the balance right in your life as well, because this is the end of the free version of the weekly forecast reading. If you would like to see the entirety of this week's forecast reading, then you can do that by subscribing. And as a subscriber, what you will receive is the full version of the weekly forecast reading. You will also receive the audio for the weekly radio show, and also you'll receive 10% off all of my spiritual services there. So this includes all of the readings there for you to benefit from. And also you will receive new updates and information and news of what's happening with myself and the services that I provide, and also the events that I take part in. You'll hear all about that ahead of everybody else. And this is because you're a subscriber to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. So you can find a link either above or below this video, where by clicking on the link, you can then become a subscriber to reap all of the benefits that I've described to you. So I look forward to having you on this journey with me as a Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium subscriber. Thank you for taking time to watch this video and supporting the work that Spirit and myself work together in doing so. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. I do hope you've enjoyed this week's show and you can take benefit from the wisdom and information that Spirit have brought in. If you'd like to contact me, please go to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com. Have a fabulous week, everybody. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information
about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium